recording. Okay. So the biggest thing about like survival mode is pinpointing the what. So what is survival mode exactly? And it's kind of like a cousin of PTSD, and it comes from like trauma. So it could be like something that happened for a short amount of time or long-term trauma, or things that happen like in a pattern, and they just created a sense of like a confirmed reality in your person. So like they changed the way that you define the world. And as for like what like do I mean by the word trauma, it's like experiences that have evoked terror or extreme stress or overwhelming panic that kind of caused your adrenaline to spike far past like what like might be like in a scary movie or a film, an action film or something like that. Your adrenaline sparks way higher during these types of experiences. And it doesn't matter like how big or small the experience was for you, it has an impact on you regardless. So sorry, one second. So it kind of creates like a panic to just stop doing so much. It can even happen from burnout, and to just sort of go through a cycle of just being stuck in doing the things that you need to do, and putting such a focus on getting those things done that it causes so much stress in your life. And so there's a way that you can feel like it kind of gives you a way to feel more in control of what's going on in your life by just taking like your tasks so seriously and putting so much pressure on getting it done. So it could even like be something that stems from childhood too, like you want to feel safe, or you want to feel like you have power or control over something. So when safety is taken away, it's too much to tolerate. So when things change in your life, it sort of kickstarts this like sort of wave in your nervous system to just take charge of what's going on in your life. And the way that we take control is by doing things that we can control. So there are a lot of symptoms of it, but how like some of them can involve like arousal symptoms like irritability or angry outbursts, things like that, or just self-destructive behavior, or just trouble concentrating in general. Or there are also like negative ones in the moods, like being emotionally numb, just negative feelings about yourself, lack of interest in the things that you once enjoyed doing, and even like having dreams about the events, things like that, and like being avoidant of what's going on in your life and just tuning into the things that you have to do. So now this happens kind of like as this active stress response. So this is the way that you're responding to the stress that is going on, and you're trying to make sense of like what's wrong in your life, because our brains have a need to put things together. So we need to kind of have a story there, and sort of like put like we kind of give ourselves a story in place of what we don't know, basically. So we're trying to make sense of what's going on by focusing on the things that we can do that have like a valid source. But the thing is, when you get stuck in your mind, most of your problems are kind of imagined. So they're not like, you can't actually solve them by doing these things. So it's kind of like they don't actually exist, and you got to think of it like a plant. Like if there's like say a carrot that's rooted in the ground or something like that, a vegetable, and the roots are on there, and you see just the roots, you're going to think that it's so like dark and just brown and kind of dirty. But when you look at the top, it's green and it's beautiful and it's thriving. And you have to think of what happened or what's going on that's causing you to kickstart this survival mode as the roots, and they're rotten, and you need to let them go to have the fresh fruit and everything like that, the fresh vegetables. So think of the vegetables as like where you are now, because if somebody switched places with you, they wouldn't see the problems that you see. But we see these problems because we get so fixated on them that we kind of just let them take control when they're really just signals there for us to kind of adjust accordingly and keep going. But if you looked at it from an outside perspective, it's very different than the way that you're seeing it. Just as if like your friend tells you something that they're freaking out about, but you see it completely differently than them, and you're able to calm them down because you're not freaking out too. It's the same thing. Like if they switch places with you, whatever you see that you've made so big is solvable through action, definitely, but also letting it go and making space for new things in your life and focusing on the things that do matter to you. So there are a few tools on how to change. And of course, I'm going to start with breathing exercises because bead breathing is really helpful. So like for every full breath in and out, push one of the beads through the grasp of your fingers, like in between your fingers, and do this for one full round of the bracelet until you return to the first bead. And if it's about 4 minutes, then that's good. If not, do it twice. And you can also say things that you're grateful for too on the beads. And then it kind of brings you more towards putting your attention on that. Just like if you see a yellow car, and then you always, like if you're thinking about a yellow car, you see a yellow car, that type of thing. So think about the gratitude, and then you'll be more grateful for more things every day. And that's what you'll be looking for. So doing things that make you feel that way is what's going to start to change in your life. So bead breathing is really cool. But also there's the 5 breath breathing, where you could do 4, 5, 6, whatever makes you feel more comfortable. But take 1 breath in for 4 seconds, hold for the count of 5, and then breathe out for 6, and then do it again and again. And also like doing things like yoga or just meditation, things like that. Meditation is very helpful to get those things out of your mind, and that way you think about it less when you're actually doing it that day. So it helps a lot. But the second tool would be like sort of small, quick actions. So I call them ninja actions. And it's like things that are like nearby you that you can do really quick, that like have an easy solution, like small things, whether it's like throw the trash away or just like put your book into your desk, little things that you can complete quickly, because then it also makes you feel better that like you're getting so much done. And even if that's at a smaller pace, you're still getting things done and you're still on a roll, and it like releases dopamine and it kind of makes you feel better. So it kind of helps you keep going and wanting to do more things. And also when we're already in motion, we just want to keep doing things. So it's kind of going to get you started. But do just little things, something you can complete in like a couple seconds, whatever you can. And then the other tool that I have is to prove the positive. So like spot the joy in things. So this is more like a hobby to play during your day. And it's just like look at the majority of your experiences in which are actually positive. So like even your job could count as like a happy thing, or like tiny little happy things. And like, for example, like it doesn't even have to be about you. So like say you're just going to count how many butterflies you see tomorrow. Like how fun would that be to count how many butterflies you see, or just to see how many smiles you see on people's faces. Like count little selfless things that are going to spark joy in your life. So it's good to kind of mentally note all of these things, and then you can even write them down at the end of your day, and sort of just notate everything that was positive that happened. And that's going to get your mindset shifting towards looking for those types of things and having less time to think about the survival mode and all of that stuff that you've been in this cycle of. So just do this like every day. Pick something small that you want to kind of spot the joy with. So those are a few things that are going to help kind of like your muscle memory reset, and your life pattern is going to start to change, and it's going to prove something different to you, that life is actually good, and that there are so many things that you were missing because you were focusing on just surviving. So the biggest goal with like trauma or anything that happened is just to feel okay and to feel safe and at peace. And I know that like it's easier said than done because feelings like takes time to change them, but doing the right things for them are going to help change them a little bit each day. And then eventually you'll look back and realize you're not even in it anymore. So that is what I have for you guys today as tips. And then I'm gonna get started on the worksheet type thing that I have for you. So it's basically a circle. So get out your pens and papers or something that you can draw on. And I'm gonna have you guys draw the circle. Okay, let me see if I can screen share it. Okay, this circle. There's 12 things in it. These are the things that I want you guys to focus on day to day. And you can draw this circle each day if you want to and kind of like check in with yourself to see where you're at with all of these things. Because the goal is to have the circle balanced. So while you guys are getting that, I'm gonna start drawing on it to show you guys what I mean. Never drawn on here though. Okay, so say that like your finances were really low that day. So you're like down here because it's lower. You want to be like out here, right? With having more and having like being content with it, more space, just like, you know. So lower is like you didn't do very good. Then creativity, like how creative were you today? What did you do? Say you like painted for like hours or something that you think that you love that is creative, that sparks joy. And spirituality, like did you do anything for spirituality today? Say that you didn't. So then down here. And then joy, how joyful were you today? And then like social life, like how social were you? And then say you talked to like 200 people. Relationships, like how are your relationships doing today? Like how connected were you with the people that you're building relationships with or that you have relationships with? Say you were really good at that too. It was a good day with your people. You made some good bonds, connections, whatever. And then home environment, say you cleaned your whole house that day. So then there you go, pretty busy day. And home cooking, say you cooked all your meals, so you're doing good here. And then you went to the gym, but you only ate like cake and coffee once that day, and that's all you ate. And then education, say you didn't go to class, so like down here. And then career, you did really good with your career because of your connections and all that stuff. Okay, and then now look at this circle. Like this is where you can see where you're doing good and what needs work. And the goal is to have the circle balanced. So the thing is, I'm gonna have you guys pick 3 things per category of things that make you feel creative, for instance. What are 3 things? You can even think back to childhood because a lot of the things you still love that come from childhood, basically. So from like age 7, like I mentioned, that's when your personality is built and everything. So those activities you loved, you still might love too. So don't discount those, but think of things that make you feel creative, 3 things. And then 3 things that make you feel like spiritual, that kind of make your spirituality grow. 3 things that spark joy. 3 things in your social life that you think could need work or that you feel you want to put work into. Same with your relationships. Like, what are 3 things that you could be doing better in your relationships? 3 things that you could like improve on in your relationships. So, and then home environment. Could you be better about your schedule, about your laundry, about cleaning the house, things like that, even cleaning your car. And then home cooking, how often do you cook? Like, could you create a schedule for that? Or like, is there maybe one meal that'd be easier? Or like exploring that and home cooking. So physical activity, could you go to the gym more? Could you stand to like sort of like take more classes or anything like that? 3 things that you can improve in your physical activity. And these can even be things that you can change too. So like things that you want to sort of like do differently. Like instead of going to the gym this day, do I want to go for a run? Something like that. 3 things that you want to switch up or that you want to add. Same with health. What are 3 things you want to change about your health or what you're eating or anything like that? Then education, like could you be doing more personal development? Could you be studying more for your classes? Could you be learning more things in general about things that you're curious about? How much are you educating yourself about the stuff that you're thinking about or that you're questioning? So the 3rd thing is career. I mean, other things, career, 3 things, and 3 things that you can improve on in your career or change or add on that's going to switch up the routine, kind of spark more joy. Like, what are some things that you can do differently? And finances, like, what are some things you can change financially? Like, do you have a budget? Are you spending more than you'd like to be? Are you not investing as much? Like, things for your finances that are going to make you feel more comfortable. And then back to creativity. So those are the 12 things. And you want to make them feel balanced. The goal is to make it a circle, not whatever that is. So, okay. And then you can kind of do this every day and like kind of just add it to your like journal or your whatever you write in. And if you don't, you should start because it helps with reflecting and really just pinpointing the things that you want to focus on. It helps you learn a lot more about yourself. So you can add this on there. That's what I started doing, and it helps a lot because then you really see what needs more work and what you could be improving on. So you could do that. And then I also throw in today's accomplishments. So 3 things that I accomplished today. It could be small, so much as eating a full balanced meal, eating a full meal, a full 3 meals, or going to the gym, or spending time with family, or getting that assignment done, whatever it is. 3 accomplishments for today. And then tomorrow's intentions. So what are 3 things that you want to accomplish tomorrow? And then focus on those 3 things. So that is basically the gist of the worksheet. And then also like, I mean, this is kind of just like a bonus thing, but it's more nutrition based because the other thing is like the food that you're consuming and like whatever you're kind of consuming in general just gets processed and it makes you feel a certain way and affects your emotions and affects like how you feel physically. So if you want to, you can also do this as well, but you write down what you ate for breakfast and like what time you ate it and how it made you feel emotionally. So like pay attention to the way that you're feeling after you eat and the way it makes you feel physically. So does it make you more groggy and tired and your body is exhausted and you don't want to move as much? Or does it give you a lot of energy, but your mind is kind of not feeling settled? Like whatever it is, how is it making you feel emotionally and physically? And then lunch and dinner and all the snacks you ate and things like that. You can also track how much water you drink, like what kind of food you drank, I mean, what kind of food you ate, how many supplements did you have, how much movement did you have, how much sleep did you have, and what kind of self-care did you do? So looking at all of these things are going to really give you a perspective on sort of just what you're consuming is going to do for you. So this is a good way to get out of survival mode and to really pay attention to the things in your life that do matter and do benefit you and other people, and just spark more joy in your life in general. Because when these things are balanced, it creates like a state of calm in our bodies. So food also does have a huge role to that. That's why I kind of threw that in there, because food is literally what our bodies are made out of, because that's what we're consuming, and it's being broken down and it turns into our cells. So that's like who we are, is what we eat, literally. So it's good to pay attention to that, because it affects your brain too, and the emotions that you feel and the chemicals in your brain. So that's what I have for you guys today. I'm going to stop the recording. And